All right, guys. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the 6 principles of persuasion. And I contemplated whether or not I should include this lesson inside of Newsletter Secrets. After thinking about it, to me, it should just be like required learning for marketing in general. To me, it's just the human nature side of things that you need to understand being a human yourself and what makes people take the actions that they take. It's just an important foundation for basically everything else that we're going to talk about as we go through the entire course, all the way through from traffic to tracking, analytics, like everything. It all starts here, and understanding how people work and how to get them to take the action you want them to take, because you know that it'll be beneficial to them. So this entire lesson here is all based on the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, which I have my copy right here. If you don't have this book, I definitely recommend getting it. Everything in this entire lesson pulled straight from this book, so this is not anything I came up with myself. I just think it's important that you guys learn this, so we're just going to go through these. There's 6 of them, and kind of a bit of an overview of the book. The majority of this book is he is going back and telling studies that were done in all kinds of universities and stuff like that, where people studying psychology, they set up these experiments in some cases and then studies in other cases, and of all of that stuff, he pulled out and found 6 commonalities amongst what made people do the things that they do in those studies and experiments. And that's what these 6 principles of influence are. And really, it's really, I say influence, persuasion could be considered the same. They're really not. Personally, I say persuasion just because that's just how I think. But all right, principle number 1 is reciprocity. So again, all these quotes straight from the book. We are obliged to the future repayment of favors, gifts, invitations, and the like. So what that really means is, and I think I left a little bit out of there that I probably should have included, but when I give you something, you feel like you need to reciprocate that gesture. And the way we're doing that in the newsletter business is obviously we're giving them a bribe or some kind of a free offer, right? That immediately puts you ahead in their mind. You're doing something first by giving them something first without asking for anything except an email address. So without them even really realizing it, a lot of this stuff is unconscious to the person doing it. But you're building trust and rapport on autopilot from the very beginning, the very first interaction with somebody. So that's the first one. Second one is commitment and consistency. So it is quite simply our nearly obsessive desire to be and to appear consistent with what we have already done. Once we have made a choice or taken a stand, we will encounter personal and interpersonal pressures to behave consistently with that commitment. This is the case in everything, just life in general. Somebody decides to take a stand about something, they can't change that. They've committed to taking that stand. They cannot. It's just like against everything inside of them to change their mind because of what they've already done. And this goes again way beyond just marketing, but as you'll see as we go into more of the advanced stuff later on, when you use something, say like a survey funnel, where somebody lands on a page and all they have to do is click one button to answer a question. There's no opt-in, no email thing yet. All they have to do is click a button. It's a very, very low barrier to entry. You're not asking them to give up an email yet. They just answer a question, click a button. That's a commitment. They don't realize it, but they've committed to at least seeing what question is next. And they answer the second question. Same thing, it's a second commitment. Then you take them to the third question. So by the end, when you actually ask for their email, it's dang near impossible for them not to give it up, because they've taken a stand, so to speak, to see this through. and part of it is curiosity in that specific example, but it's the commitment and consistency and the, like it says, nearly obsessive desire to appear is more important, consistent with what we've already done. Again, it's unconscious. They're clicking, answering question 1, number 2, and number 3. It's almost impossible for them to bail at that point. So how does it apply to the newsletter business? That's one way. So you could use a survey style opt-in page or squeeze page, and again, this isn't like misleading stuff. It's just understanding human nature and psychology and using it to get them to do what you want them to do, because you know that what you have will be beneficial to them. All right, number 3 is social proof. This is a pretty obvious one. We already talked about it a little bit when we were talking about using like the proof notification pop-ups, or Trust Pulse was the other one. Social proof is a pretty common thing in marketing for everybody to understand, but what it says in the book, one means we use to determine what is correct is to find out what other people think is correct. So it's why reviews are on Amazon and every other store. People want to know, like, hey, did this work for you? If there's a bunch of reviews, it's immediate social proof that other people bought it, used it, liked it. So the pretty obvious one, easy one to understand. Number 4 is liking. We most prefer to say yes to the requests of someone we know and like. Again, this was pretty obvious too. That this is going to come later on in your business when you decide to promote, an offer or a new launch that came out for a new product or course or something, depending on your niche. The liking that you've built up over time, that trust and rapport that you've built up over time, is going to determine how good your conversion rate is when you start promoting products like that. Number 5 is authority. Again, a pretty obvious one. We talked about credibility and authority when we were going over the squeeze page. But what it says in the book, information from a recognized authority can provide us a valuable shortcut for deciding how to act in a situation. One of the first examples that came to my mind when I was creating this slide were like the scammy affiliates that take like a Shark Tank website, or not Shark Tank, but the Fox, like a fake Fox News website, and then put like a screenshot of Dr. Oz on there. Because he's an authority figure, he's a doctor. So if people just assume because his picture is on there that he recommends this product, then it increases conversions. That's why people do it. It works. It's just, first of all, it's illegal. Second of all, it's misleading and deceptive, and just kind of way off of my moral compass and radar there. But the reason why it works is what I want you to understand, so that you can take things. Maybe from, again, going back to the last example, if you're going to promote a new launch of a product, maybe that person is a trusted authority, and you can use their authority and tie it into you and your business and increase your conversions that way. All right, last one is number 6, scarcity. Again, a pretty obvious one for marketers. You've all seen countdown timers everywhere. What the book says, the idea of potential loss plays a large role in human decision making. People seem to be more motivated by the thought of losing something than by the thought of gaining something of equal value. Like this stuff, a lot of this stuff actually goes back to like caveman era. When you think of cavemen, and the food is scarce, so it plays a huge role in the decisions that they made to risk their lives to get the food. The fight with other people, that type of thing. The same, it's just ingrained in our DNA. You can't escape what has happened in history and how you are made as a human. It's just there. It's part of the DNA. So those are the 6 principles of influence persuasion, however you want to say it. Again, highly recommend this book. I will include a link to this book below this lesson, but there's actually another lesson here at the end of this module that I will recommend. 3 or 4, maybe, I don't even remember how many it is, 4 or 5 other books, and I'll include links to all those too. So that one is obviously in there. So, all right, if you have any questions on this, let me know. If not, you can move on to the next lesson.